Hi, my name is Ajayi. For our research, we are interested in whether subjective measures of mind wandering, like thought probes that are commonly used in literature, can be verified with objective measures like response times and accuracy. We are also interested in whether working memory, which is related to attention, affects whether the disruption of thought probes changes performance. So we know from previous work that thought probes do not influence overall performance. But we investigate the trials just after the probe to see if there are short-term effects of individual differences in working memory. To test the relationship of these variables, we use complex band tests to measure working memory capacity and measured mind wandering in a go-no-go task. So a go-no-go task is a sustained attention task, and a thought probe is a question that measures participants' attention. We randomly inserted the thought probe question, what were you thinking just before this? And gave participants 4 options to respond. The first option is a on task, on the goal response, which is an absence of mind wandering. And the last 3 options are varying degrees of mind wandering. To answer our first question, we compared accuracy before the probe based on probe responses and compared response times before and after the probe based on probe responses. To answer our second question, we looked at the interaction of working memory and response times before versus after the probe. So our results indicate when looking at participants' accuracy, that accuracy is higher before on-task reports. This is shown in the bar graph right here, specifically in the relationship the blue bar has to the last 3 bars. This relationship suggests that participants may recognize when they are focused. However, they could just be using accuracy before the probe to decide how they should respond to the probe. We found when looking at participants' response times, that response times are related to mind wandering reports such that there's a main effect of thought probe response. This is shown in both of the line graphs at the bottom. The line graphs show differences in response times based on the 4 response options to the thought probe question, what were you thinking about just before this? You can see that in the blue line, again, that is the on-task response, is associated with slower response times before, which is shown in the left graph, and after, which is shown in the right graph, the thought probe compared to various off-task responses. This suggests that participants' behavior is different when they are reporting different levels of mind wandering. However, the effect size was not strong enough to detect differences in follow-up comparisons. Finally, for working memory, there was no interaction with working memory, including the critical interaction for a hypothesis, which looked at response times before versus after the probe. This suggests that thought probes are not experienced differently based on working memory. So overall, the objective measures show some agreement with the subjective thought probe response in that participants are slower and more accurate around thought probes when they report being on task, but we do not see behavioral differences between the other 3 responses. Further, thought probes do not seem to affect individuals high versus low in working memory differently, even on short timescales. Thank you for listening.